Hello, and welcome to Mr. C's Philosophy of Teaching. I've been teaching now for 8 years in and out of private school, 10 years if you count daycare, everywhere from ECE to 8th grade. And I've learned a few things along the way, some things that I truly believe in, some things that really work for me in the classroom. So in this video, I will be sharing them with you. So let's get started. The first thing, make it memorable. If you don't remember something, how can you learn it? So it's a very strong belief of mine that in order to learn something, the more memorable it is, well, the better chance you have. So you have to absolutely make it memorable. How do you do that? Well, be creative. Teachers tend to be passionate about things that they had a hand in making or had some insight in creating. So I really do believe that it's very important for a classroom teacher to be creative. At least it's something that I rely on heavily. Surprise your kids. Some of the most memorable things in anyone's life tend to come from surprise activities. Kids love it, they eat it up. If you can link educational things with random instances of surprise, they have a very high percentage as far as retention and learning go. Make fun of priority. I try to make fun of priority in my classroom all the time. Now, I don't mean make it the top priority. Obviously, we want there to be effective and potent learning to be happening. But that goes hand in hand with fun a lot of the time. As you can see in my first couple of bullets, you have to really find areas to bring fun into your curriculum, to bring fun to your kids, because, it's almost like they want school to be boring. But if you can jazz it up for them, really, you can make it a memorable place. You join in. As a teacher, you have to join in. When you're at those whole school assemblies and you look at the classes that are unfocused and not paying attention, perhaps acting out, a lot of times, at least in my experience, their teachers are tuned out at those assemblies as well. Whereas if you look at a class who's engaged, many times their teachers are. Kids look to you to see how they're supposed to be acting in social situations, in educational situations, in your classroom all the time. You are a model. If you don't join in, if you don't have fun, they most of the time won't either. So it's very important to join in. And lastly, make their day. I really try to connect on a one-to-one basis with every kid in my room every day as much as possible. You have to make their day. You have to show them that you care. You have to reach out to them, really, make them come in very close contact with school and their education. Really value you as a person because they know that you value them. Uh, you know, Making their day, going out of their way to show that you care about them goes a long way to making you and your classroom a memorable place. And the whole school community as well. So make it memorable. Point number one. All right, let's move on to point number two. Emphasize community. This is so important in the classroom. It has to be a place where all kids feel safe. A lot of times, kids, shy kids especially, have a really hard time opening up, participating, really becoming a part of their education because they're so incredibly afraid of what people are going to think of them, of how people are going to react to them. If your classroom can be established as a safe place for everyone, there is an amazing connection that can happen with kids. The learning is unbelievable. They can really change as a person if your classroom is a place where they feel safe and where they feel comfortable. How do I do this? Well, I start out by laughing at myself a lot, poking fun at myself, not in a disrespectful way, but I think it's important to laugh at yourself. You want kids to laugh at themselves. It creates a community in your classroom where people don't have to take themselves so seriously. kids, especially of the ages that I've been teaching recently, fourth grade has been my most recent tenure in my last 4 years. They want to find reasons to be upset and angry at their friends, and a lot of times when they do something wrong, they want to find somebody who may be looking down their nose at them and make a big situation out of nothing. They do it all the time. And if you can teach your students to laugh at themselves, to take themselves lightly, to really emphasize your community more than yourself, it will pay dividends in your classroom. I've seen it happen. And that's why it's a priority for me. Set high expectations. Yes, scholastic expectations, but also social expectations of respect, of the way we treat our classroom, of the way we treat our school, of how we act towards our principals and our administrators, how we act around younger kids in the school. It's my firm belief that kids need to see themselves as an example for younger ones. I was an oldest brother of 6, and it was always emphasized to me that I need to be a good example, and I think that helped me to grow and mature and to really value my family. And I think that can help kids to value their community, their classroom community, and their whole school community. And finally, celebrate each other. Celebrate everything. High fives, singing, dancing, shout outs and round of applause. Kids need to feel like they're appreciated. They need to feel like they've accomplished something. And they need to learn how to celebrate each other. Not to be jealous of each other's accomplishments, but really to celebrate each other. So that's my shtick on emphasizing community in the classroom. I feel like I tend to set a really good one, and I think it's because I stick to these rules and a couple others, but those are the most important. Finally, my third point: grow. Yes, I'm talking about professionally growing here. Yes, I'm talking about classroom expectations. I'm talking about growth across the board. Student growth. Yes. I've been lucky enough to hit exceptional student growth on a regular basis. It's very important that that's a priority for your classroom. But more than that, as a professional, you can't get stuck in a rut. You have to find something that opens your eyes, that lights your passion, that gets you going, that inspires you, because you have to grow from that. I mean, we're all growing. And it's important that we bring that into our classrooms. Don't be afraid of change. A lot of times teachers are terrified of change, and they set themselves up so that everything's the same every year, and they're comfortable with that, and it becomes easier. I don't agree with that. I mean, I'm fine with it if it's working, but I'm also of a very powerful belief that you can't be afraid of change. We can't innovate. We can't become better as a school, as a community, as a country if we're afraid to embrace the future. And the future, a lot of times, comes with change. So don't be afraid of change. And finally, keep your appetite for creation and innovation. You always have to be finding that next best thing, or you have to explore a way to reach a kid that you may have never thought of before. Professionally, yes, in your community, as small as your classroom or as large as your school, I don't think that you should be afraid or that you should be hesitant to innovate and to create. You really have to be hungry for that. You have to bring that to your kids, bring that to your classroom, bring that to your school. Anyways, I'll wrap it up there. But I wanted to kind of bring all that together into one final point, and I want to show you this picture. This is one of my students, Francisco. This is 30 seconds after he won his Math Wrestling Federation championship belt for the first time. It's a game that we play in the room. The belt travels around, but look at him. Okay, this is it. This is why we do what we do. Look at this. Okay, right here. You can't fabricate that. Yeah, he's got a big goofy smile on, but look right in here. That kid will never forget this. And it came from school. It came from math. And ultimately, really, that's a lot of work. Creating games, chopping it up with your kids, staying engaged, keeping things fresh and new, looking for growth experiences every day. But these kids are worth it. If you are a teacher and you don't think that, I don't know. I guess it's my belief that maybe you should find another profession because these kids really are worth it. So, I guess that would be the culmination of my philosophy of teaching. Growth, very strong emphasis on community and making school a memorable place. Thank you very much. This is Mr. C. I would be more than happy to explain anything that I've discussed further. Simply contact me via email or phone. Thank you very much.